And a little later on, I will show you where and exactly what happened. And two of the other people also witnessed it, are here tonight as well. So we're going to be getting to that. Thank you. We'll see you soon. We'll see you in a few minutes. We're going to take you to the front parlor where Matt Moniz had an experience, and we're going to throw it live to Sarah. Sarah. Oh, wait, I got to take you there. Come on, come on. Come on.
Hey guys. So yes, I'm here with our lovely Matt Moniz, who is going to regale us with a story that he had of personal experience in this very room, in that very chair. Take it away.
Yeah, last year I was in this room. There were over a dozen people along with the tour guide, Eleanor. She was giving her basic lecture, as she usually does. She had me take this particular photograph, which is of the doctor's house next door, hand it around to the group that was there. I got handed the photograph back. I put it back on its stand and made sure, it's set nice. About 5 minutes after I had set the photograph back, stand and all jumped up right here, like what would be in between Sarah and I, hung there motionless for a second, started spinning in the air. The stand came ricocheting off the chair in the photograph with a heavy wooden frame and all, went rocketing into the middle of the room, coming to rest underneath the coffee table. Several individuals went bolting out of the room, other people standing and screaming. I pick up the photograph.
Thank you so much, Calicott, for subscribing. Much appreciated, my friend. Smooches for you. Let's watch this guy in a really cool hat talk about pictures flying around and stuff for another minute.
Demanded that it do it again, but unfortunately it was not cooperative.
One-time thing.
But I found out through Eleanor and several of the other tour guides that is common, not only for this photograph, but for several other photographs in the house.
Okay. And you were in a room full of people, you said. So it wasn't
a room
just
full
you
of people of
front.
all different ages,
yeah.
races, and genders.
Yeah. Can't beat that. Yeah. So hey, we're actually going to throw it back to Jeff at this point, who will take you into the very next location. Over there.
Hey! Isn't this exciting? No breaks, no cuts, straight through all the way. All right, we're going upstairs next, but want to tell you, all the oddballs are here, except Andy, who is playing soccer now, unfortunately, but Andrew is on camera. Come on, I'll show you. So, there he is. All right, come on, let's go upstairs. We're going to go to the guest room where Abby Borden was killed.
Hey, Jeff, what's up?
Hey, Jeff. This is Mike Markowitz. Oddball Rob, you know. Rob is our resident skeptic. Mike Markowitz is an EVP expert, and they're going to be running experiments here in this room. We've got equipment all over, but tonight we're going to focus
right here.
Oh, my
goodness gracious.
Mike, what is EVP?
Ladies and gentlemen.
EVP, electronic
Ladies and gentlemen, yes, we're watching some sort of video I found on the internet
that weren't here at the
about
time.
some cats
They were, but
hanging
they
around
show
the
up
old
later.
Lizzie Borden house.
And
Well, why, sock up, would you have a video of people hanging around the Lizzie Borden house? Well, I will tell you this. It is because we have a very special guest this evening. What? Oh, no, don't do the drum roll. Oh, get out of here with that, Gordon. Yes, we have a very special guest this evening, and I'm very excited. What's going on there? Let's say hello to the peoples real quick. Victor, oh my goodness, Snake Trapper watching over there on the Facebooks. Yes, indeed. Did he just say Lizzie Borden? That's right, Tinker. That's right. Prepare your brains for some Lizzie Borden information, ladies and gentlemen. We're about to get spooky up in this place. Getting spooky up in this place. These guys are into shabby chic. You got that right. You got that right, Great Satan. Good to see us. Howie. Oh, pardon me. Oh, sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. Ghost Hunters has lost a lot of production value. No, that was not Ghost Hunters. That was real people. Real people. Good to see you. Igris Pie. Welcome to the thing. Shira _ 2014 moderator extraordinaire. Thank you so much for hanging around. Oh, we get a little bit of a little hearts there. Little hearts there. Yes, indeed. Yes. All right, let's see. Calicott, thank you so much, my friend, for doing the subscribing gimmick and hanging around. Ben Griffiths, Shorty G, hanging around on the Facebook. Hello, my friend. Tinka. Just another blowhard. Oh, my goodness. Just another blowhard. Smooches for you. So I'm so happy to see you, my friend. Mwah. Mwah, 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 mwah. Hope everything's going okay with you. Hope everything's going okay with you. I saw some very sad news on Facebook, so I'm glad to see you, my friend. Hopefully, we can have us a good time. Oh, Merry Christmas! Oh, good to see you. Merry Christmas. Good to see you. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. It's Merry Christmas, everybody. Who was actually the first comment? She said first and was actually the first one. I think that's the first person that's ever said first and was actually first. Because, there's like a delay with the internet. It's a series of tubes. I don't know how it works. There's delays and things. But anyways, there we go. Smooches for you. Just another blowhard. The great and humblest. You're the one cop it's good to see. That's exactly right. That's fantastic. Merry Christmas. No, I wasn't being a jerk. I was telling you for realsies. You said first and you was first. I'm giving the credit where the credit is due. So there you go. All right. So far the gimmicks are working better. Okay, good. Sock up ain't no jerk. Bass Guy Show. Oh my goodness gracious. If you don't follow Bass Guy Show, give him a follow. He does some fantastic. Are you done already? I thought you was doing the things tonight, Bass Guy. Did I stop you? I didn't mean to. Interrupt things. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I don't want to go too long here. I got a fantastic guest. We got to get to it. We got business to do. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to introduce to you my good friend and very interesting and awesome human being, Danielle Cabral. How you doing, my friend? Yes, video.
Hello.
Oh my goodness gracious, Danielle Cabral. Am I saying that right? Is it Cabral?
You got it right.
Okay, good. All right, I'm just making sure. I don't know. What is that? Is that Japanese?
Parkours.
Yeah, real close.
Okay.
Portuguese.
Oh,
Yeah.
Portuguese. Well, the last half is correct.
That's right.
So there we go. Oh, Lady Satan, thank you so much for the donation, my friend. Oh, sorry. I know I'm just introducing you, but Lady Satan just donated, so that means we got to figure out what she just bought for the show here. So give me a second, and let's take a look. Drum roll, please. Let's take a look and see what Lady Satan got for the show. Oh, look at that. Oh, it's a crystal ball. Look at that.
Nice.
Now we got us a crystal ball. Isn't that great?
What is it going to tell us?
I have no idea. Have you ever used the crystal ball, Danielle?
No.
I haven't either. Oh my goodness gracious! Snake Trapper. I don't know if you can see this or not, Danielle. But Snake Trapper over on Facebook, he says Lizzie Borden had an axe. She gave her mother 40 whacks. When she seen what she had done, she gave her father 40 wood. Are you familiar with that little rhyme?
Oh, yeah. I think that's one of the things that has helped to make this story so famous over the years, that everyone knows the rhyme.
That's good. No, it's a good poem.
It's not true, though.
It rhymes. Wait a minute. Not true.
It's not true.
It's not true.
No, Lizzie Borden didn't take an axe. She took a hatchet, allegedly.
Well, yeah. Well, all right, we're gonna get into that. Hold on, let me fix. No, get out of here with that garbage. All right, there we go. All right, sorry about that. Pretty sure that's a staring abyss. Yeah, exactly. Just another blowhard. Thank you so much for those 9 bits, Danielle. I apologize. Every once in a while, I'm gonna have to interrupt. If somebody gives me money, I'm legally obligated to say their name and thank you and things like that. So
Yeah, please.
I'll be interrupting every once in a while.
Wonderful. I love it.
That's a good. Yeah, nothing good rhymes with hatchet, says Dop Online. That's true.
Ratchet.
Yeah, ratchet. Yeah. Lizzie Borden was feeling ratchet. She picked herself up a big old hatchet.
You're on to something.
Yeah, there we go. We can start a new one, a slightly more, correct one.
Yeah, because it was her stepmother and her father, and it was only 19 blows for the stepmother and 10 to 11 for the father. So It was just created by a journalist who was trying to get his name out there. Kids picked up on it back then, started singing it to jump rope, and that's the history. It just got blown out of proportion ever since.
Oh, wow. Well, what was that journalist's name?
I don't know.
Well, then his plan did not work.
No,
it did not work because we don't remember his name.
That's true.
But we remember the creation. Oh, my goodness gracious. Danielle, thank you so much for joining us this evening.
Yeah,
I'm
thank
so
you
happy
for
to talk to you. I'm very excited. If you don't mind, if you would kind of introduce yourself a little bit to people who do not know of your awesomeness, could you please just kind of say who you are?
Yeah, so my name is Danielle Cabral. I worked for the Lizzie Borden house for 9 years as a tour guide. And I have been telling this story for much longer than that, but really gotten the nitty gritty parts of the story down to a science in the past, I would say, solid 8 years. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask, because I am a plethora of useless information when it comes to this story.
yeah. If you have any questions, type it into the thing, and if I read it, then I'll ask, and if not, then you'll just type words, and then they'll disappear into nothing, and that's how Twitter works. So there you go. But anyway, so are you tired of talking about all this stuff by now?
No.
Is it still exciting to you?
Yeah.
That is fantastic. That makes me so happy. That makes me very happy, because even me, I get sick sometimes about saying, "Oh, don't speed. Stop speeding. I'll give you a ticket." Sometimes I get sick and tired of saying that. But you can sit and talk about Lizzie Borden still after all these years?
Yeah, I mean, it's just a fascinating story. It's unsolved. We're never going to know who did it, so everyone's theory is kind of the best in their own unique way, even if they're way out in left field somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, it's always a new experience talking about it, because I always talk about something different. It's like, of course, we'll talk about the murders, but as far as like coming up with different alibis or reasons, the facts that I talk about, it's always a little bit different every time. And people who want to hear this story genuinely want to hear it, because they're either interested in the paranormal or the history or just the murders. I don't know, but people seem to genuinely care about it, and that's very humbling for me. So if they want to hear about it, I'll never get sick of talking about it.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's good, because we're going to talk about it. So I'm glad you're not tired of it, because otherwise you'd be very bored this evening. Because I think we're going to spend at least half the time talking about this.
Wonderful.
So that's good. We got Joey Radza over on Facebook. I have a feeling you may know that person.
Yeah, he plays Uncle John in our reenactments.
Oh, that's what I saw him on the news. It says he says Danielle was a fantastic Emma Borden in the annual reenactment. There you go. Actually,
yeah.
we got some pictures. We're gonna go through that here in just a minute. So we're good. So somebody, whenever you said it was a great unsolved mystery, we got a few people saying unsolved ? Because they are 100% certain that Lizzie Borden killed those peoples.
Well, they can be certain of their own accord, but she was acquitted back in 1893, so
That's
a jury
true.
for otherwise.
That's true. Yeah, I didn't know that because I'd heard the rhyme and I knew all that stuff, so I figured, well, okay. Yeah, I mean, who hadn't had a bad day every once in a while? You know what I'm saying? Can't blame them. Can't blame them for that. But she was tried, went on trial, and then a bunch of people was like, nah, she didn't do it.
Yeah, that's basically the story. All right, see you later. Bye.
Thank you for joining us, ladies and gentlemen. This has been Lizzie Borden Talk on the Sci-Fi Show. Okay. But so she was acquitted from the thing, and then went on to live a life.
Yeah, she even stayed in the city that she was accused of brutally murdering her father and stepmother in, when she could have gone anywhere else in potentially the world.
Right.
Went to the fashionable area, bought a huge, beautiful home, which she then later named Maplecroft, and she changed her name to Lizbeth and was known as Lizbeth of Maplecroft, and she died there in that house.
Oh la la, Lizbeth of Maplecroft. Now she was good. Did she have like a degree in marketing or anything like that? Because that's pretty good.
Just a way of reinventing oneself back then. You could simply change your name and reassociate.
Yeah, that's true. Because you didn't even have like Facebook or nothing like that back then. So you could just be like, Lizzie Borden. No, I'm not her. I'm Lizbeth of Laura Croft or whatever it was.
Maplecroft.
Oh, Maplecroft. Yeah, Maplecroft. Sorry about that. This is new to me, Maplecroft. So she bought a new house?
She bought a new house, yeah. And
Wow.
I mean, you're moving to Fall River from Fall River. So people, I mean, you've met.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people kept asking, like, why didn't you, leave? And she said, well, I want to stay here in the city so when the real killer or killers are caught, I can prove to everyone that turned their back on me that I am innocent.
Get out of town. She said that, really?
Yeah,
Oh.
something along those lines. I mean,
That's awesome.
yay.
That's fantastic. so she was like, no, bro. Wasn't me.
Mm-hmm.
She was like Shaggy in that one song.
Yeah.
She's like, wasn't me.
She's like, I'm going to stay here to prove it to all of you. Yeah, she had one hell of a life after the trial, and she was acquitted. She traveled all up and down the East Coast. She went to different plays. She loved the theater. She was one of the co-founders of the Animal Rescue League. She was one of the first people in the city to purchase a car, which was a Packard, and then she ended up buying a Buick later on.
What?
She was the only people in the city to have a gas pump installed in her yard. And before all that, when she still had a carriage, there was a house next to hers, which she purchased and then had moved. So she could erect a carriage house, and inside of it installed a Lazy Susan so it would spin the carriage back around to face the street. I mean, if that's not bougie, I don't know what is.
That is 100% bougie. Oh my god, that's the definition of bougie right there.
Yeah.
Having a Lazy Susan to move your carriages around.
Love it.
Are you kidding me? That's fantastic. It don't get no better than that.
Yeah.
It don't get no better than that. If the acts don't fit, you must acquit. Some people were saying there are some similarities to the O.J. Simpson trial. People
Yeah.
are pointing out.
If big if she was the murderer,
Mm-hmm.
she is the original OJ. No murder weapon, can't prove motive, no bloody clothes, the hatchet didn't fit, so you must acquit.
You must acquit. The hatchet didn't fit. And that's another thing. The rhyme is talk about axe, but a hatchet was you. How do they know it was a hatchet? They had some guy that like looked at the skulls and was like, "Oh, this ain't no axe. This is a hatchet. Hatchet right here. I can tell by the skull or whatever."
A sock cop, actually, you're almost 100% like hit the nail on the head there. So
That never happens, by the way.
based on the wounds of the skulls, they were able to determine that the murder weapon was a hatchet. So the murders happened on August 4th, which was Thursday. So after the funeral happened a couple of days later, it was almost a week to the day after the murders occurred, they did a second autopsy. But both Lizzie and her sister never knew this. So they never buried the bodies. They brought them to the holding tomb at Oak Grove Cemetery in Fall River, and they decapitated them. So the medical examiner took the heads home with him into his basement, boiled the flesh off the skulls, and then shipped them to Harvard Medical School to be analyzed. Well, when the trial started, Mr. Borden's skull was used in court as evidence. They picked up the handleless hatchet, fit it into one of the wounds, and it was a perfect match. When Lizzie saw it, she passed out. And oddly enough, so did one of the jurors, but everyone said that Lizzie was just trying to, play it up for the jury.
Oh my goodness gracious! There's so much to this story that I had no idea.
Yeah.
You think you know. You watch Christina Ricci walk around in a dress, and you think you're like, well, I know the story now. There you go. And then I start talking to you, and there's so much more. So much more to the story. That's fantastic. So, were you interested in these kind of things, like when you was a little bitty Danielle? Were you like playing blocks and being like, "This is where Lizzie hit a murder with a hatchet" and stuff like that? And they were like, "Danielle, are you okay? Do we need to see somebody?" Or what? Like, were you interested, like, as a little kid, or what?
Yeah, I would say little enough. So basically, I would say around like 10 or 11 is when I started getting interested in it, because
That's pretty little.
Yeah, that's pretty little. My bocce, my grandmother, she grew up in Fall River, and she took me into the Historical Society and bought me a couple of books on this story. So when I was young, I was like, oh, I'm going to figure this out, unsolved murder case. What kid doesn't want to crack the code that, that's possible?
Oh, so you were going to figure it out.
I was going to figure out who done it, that's for sure.
Word. Okay, yeah, that's good.
So I kept researching it as I got older, and kept reading more books. When I was 16, my mom and my aunt brought me to the house to spend the night. And
that's his house. back here. I made I made a special background for you. No big deal. Made a special background. This is the Lizzie Borden house. Hopefully, I think that's right. That's what Google said. I've never been there. Is this the right place?
Right. You got it.
Okay. All right. Good. All right, so I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you. They took you there when you were what'd you say, 16?
When I was 16, yeah. And then after I got my driver's license, I took all my friends for tours. And about 9 years ago, my ex-fiance brought me there to spend the night, and I started talking to Leanne, one of the owners of the house. And we just started talking about like what we did for a living and everything else. And she had an amazing history. And I just thought she was a tour guide. I didn't know she was the owner. And she was like, "Oh, what do you do for a living?" And I said, "Oh, I've been cooking professionally for years." And she's like, "We're looking for a cook." I was like, "What?" So long story short, about 2 or 3 weeks later, I started working there cooking. And then about a month or two after that, she was like, "I think you should learn to do tours. I think you'd be great." And yeah, that was the beginning of my tour guide career. And because of her and that house, I fell in love with history and went back to school. So everything happens for a reason.
Oh, that's a wonderful thing. What? Wait, why is there? Is there a restaurant in the place? Why is that? Why is there a need for a cook?
Oh, so when I was working there, when you spent the night, you get breakfast in the morning because it was a functioning bed and breakfast, and it still is a functioning.
Oh,
yeah.
So what you would you'd have to fry eggs for a bunch of folks from like Belgium or something like that?
Yeah, so we tried to do like an authentic breakfast as close to possible that the Bordens had the morning of the murders. And when I first started working there and cooking, I used to dress up as the maid from the 1800s. I mean, full on apron, dust cap, full shebang.
Oh.
And we did a breakfast of scrambled eggs, Johnny cakes, home fries. And I know you're thinking, what are Johnny cakes? And they're basically like a ghetto pancake made with cornmeal.
First of all, get out of my brain because I was 100% thinking that.
Yeah, we get that question a lot. So we used to serve, before the days of COVID, we used to serve breakfast family style. So you could sit in the same room the Bordens did the morning right before they died. Because we're not morbid or anything.
No, not at all. Not at all.
No.
Who would dare make a profit out of a murder house? Nobody would do that.
No.
No morbidity at all.
We did it tactfully. We told the story in a respectful way. I mean, some things have to be a little punny.
Yeah. No, that's true. That brings me. I've got to do this. I got some. I spent a little time. This is something I normally don't do. If you guys know me, sock cop, me. I don't normally do a lot of preparation, H or otherwise. I don't, I just sort of go with the flow and just, if somebody's going to call in, we call in and jibber jabber and there we go. But I don't know what it is, but for whatever reason, you and your expertise, I decided to give a Googling and see what was going on. So I found you were on the news.
Oh,
You've been on the news a few times, and I found one of these. I'm a fan of local news. I like local news, and I found this this story here. So if you don't mind, I'm going to take a look at this. This is you talking about the the stuff and things. So here we go. Let's take a look. And we got
1992, August 4th marks the 127th anniversary of
You
Andrew
probably
and
won't
Abby
be able to hear
Borden's
it, but that's
gruesome
okay.
murders in their home on
That's
2nd
all right.
Street.
I'll pretend.
The dramatizations will take place on Saturday and Sunday. Actors will be in character during the entire experience. Danielle Cabral is one of the actors, as well as a tour guide.
We all dress up and we play characters. So you'll be able to come into the house as a reporter, and then you get to see Mr. Borden's body, Mrs. Borden's body. You get to talk to the medical examiners, the doctors, Uncle John, Lizzie, and you actually can interact with them and ask them questions.
Andrew's daughter Lizzie was the prime suspect, but she was later tried and acquitted of the crimes. To this day, it is unknown who the killer or killers is.
It's more than likely that she did it, although I could bring people in this room who will say she didn't.
Joey Radza of Warren, Ohio, portrays John Morse in the reenactments.
I am sitting in the same exact spot where Andrew Borden was killed.
He was also watching the show
approximately 11
early. I don't know if he's still here,
on August
but he was
4th,
watching the show.
1892.
Yay.
Radza said Uncle John was the brother of Sarah, who was Lizzie's late mother. Some people say John was involved. Still, Radza thinks Lizzie was the culprit, believing that her motive was money. Meanwhile, Cabral usually plays Emma, but she will be portraying a newspaper reporter from the Herald News this weekend. Unlike most people, she tries not to divulge who she thinks killed the Bordens.
Who killed Andrew and Abby Borden?
127-year-old cold case. I really don't know. I mean, I can speculate about it, but I'd rather people come here, get the case, and come up with their own facts.
Tickets are $27 per person and can be purchased online or at the door. Tours will be offered every half hour from 10:30 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. For more information, visit LizzieBorden.com.
So we got that.
In Fall River, Jessica Batello.
In Fall River, there's that person. Wait, is Fall River? Is that where Emerald is from? Somebody said that's where Emerald Lagasse is from. Is that true?
Yeah.
Oh, bam! That's fantastic.
Can you tell him? Please look at the way I was talking. I'm like,
that's fantastic. Very Italian, very Italianish. So there we go. So I got some pictures here. Here is you. I don't know if you can see this.
Yep, playing Emma.
Yeah, so you're playing Emma. This is Lizzie's sister.
Yes, yeah, the older sister. So she was kind of more of a mother figure to Lizzie, but she was 9 years older.
Oh, thank you so much, Owned by Gray. Much appreciated for those 300 bits. I forgot to put the little alert thing on this whole picture gimmick I got going on. But there we go. But there's you on the far right. I don't know if you guys, I'm sure you could probably tell, but on the far right, there you are. And it conveniently, the clothes that they wore back in those days covered up all your cool tattoos. So you could still totally play that.
I could still do that now, yeah. That's why I had to stop dressing up as the cook, because I had a 3/4 length dress, like sleeve dress, and tattoos aren't very Victorian appropriate.
Yeah, that's true. Not a whole lot.
That's why I had a kerchief covering my hands.
Oh, I like that. That's pretty good. Yeah. And now we got, I saw that this was pretty good. This
you
is,
like my... Yay.
This is because of COVID right here. It says you're in a mandatory mask zone. Don't make us axe you again.
Yeah, I'm funny.
That's pretty good. Wait, you made that?
Yeah.
Ah! Oh, that's fantastic. I love it. I had no idea that you made that. I just saw that. I was just like, Googling and stuff like that. And then I saw that and I was like, there we go. Oh, that's fantastic. So here's another picture. I just thought this was funny because there's a lot going on in this picture, first of all. There's a whole lot going on.
That's Rick the cop, and then you have the marshal. Yep, there's Ray. He's the marshal with the pad, and then there is a real body underneath that sheet, FYI.
Ooh.
I believe it was Xavian
Who did you kill to do that?
One of the tour guides.
Whoever. So is that how it worked during the annual reenactment? Whatever tour guide was the lowest rated, got to be the body.
Yeah, no, it was just a friend of the tour guide, will say. Like I said, I don't want to give away too much. That's evidence.
Yeah, that's the dead body. That's the dad. That's old Lizzie's dad right there.
That's just Mr. Borden. Yeah,
and then Mr. Borden.
Who's the Windward, the Undertaker. Way back in the day, we used to put a carrot in their mouth, so when they turn the head, they'd go.
Oh, that's pretty good. Now, who was this guy with the purple police outfit?
That's right. So he is. I think he was playing Officer Harrington in that outfit. Totally amazing.
Officer Harrington, was that one of the guys that worked on the case?
Yeah. We're very much as historically accurate as possible.
That's fantastic. First of all, that mustache, both of those mustaches from those guys are pretty good. Like I feel like I got a pretty good mustache.
You do.
But those cats, oh my goodness gracious.
Oh,
those
you know
are mustaches.
What? So in the house there used to be a thing called the hierarchy of beards. You should create your own hierarchy of mustaches because you've gone through quite a variety of styles.
Yeah, no, this is true. That would be good. What do they have, like a chart? How do they keep track of it?
So it's a chart, and then they all have different names with the different styles.
Oh,
you should make this happen.
Oh, I would love to. That's a good idea. Hierarchy of sock hop mustaches. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we got a girl right here. I don't know if you can see her. She not all that impressed, I gotta say. The girl in the short shorts, not that impressed. And the girl next to her, she's got her hand over her mouth. She's kind of shocked a little bit. And those other people, they're pretty good. But then this guy, he's loving it. He's just having a fantastic time. And we got a child who is clearly scarred from the entire incident.
For life.
Yep.
You're welcome.
Life. Yes.
You're welcome, child.
There's going to be some therapy involved in that one. So there we go. And here we got you're sitting on the couch. Is this the real couch?
No, that's not the real couch.
Okay. What happened to the real couch? They took it away. I guess it was all bloody and stuff. They probably put it in the garbage.
Okay, fun fact. No. They took the couch as evidence, and then they reupholstered it, and they gave the couch back.
Wait, so that's the same couch but reupholstered?
No, I would love for that to be true. But so when the trial ended and the girls, Lizzie and Emma, moved out of that house, they put a lot of their belongings in storage, and it sat there for so long over the course of a few years that fires and floods happened, and almost everything that was in that unit got destroyed. So if there are any Lizzie Borden furniture pieces left, we don't know where they are.
Oh, that's a bummer.
Yeah.
That's a total bummer.
But the house is original.
Yeah, that's all that matters. That's all that matters. Now I was listening. I must ask you a question. Misbehavior 66. Get out of here with your garbage with your axe pun. No, please bring the axe puns. If you got some axe puns, please use them now. If you've ever had any axe puns built up, these many years, feel free to express them now. There was a wait. I forgot to add another picture. Hold on. So I'm just going to jibber jabber while I add this picture here. So you've done. So people were murdered in that house. So that would lead to believe that there would be ghosts in that house. So you've done like ghost hunting and partook in that activity. What kind of things have you seen with that?
Oh wow! How much time you got?
Well, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
So a couple of highlights I have seen. Oh, I got a review.
Yeah, look at that. Yeah, this is a review. Danielle was an amazing tour guide. She knew her history. She gave us the facts, rumors, and the paranormal stories, which we're about to do. Just morbid enough to satisfy a true crime junkie like myself. Even entertained the husband I dragged with me, who wound up thoroughly enjoying himself. 5 stars on Yelp.
Yay.
For you. Yes, indeed. I found that. I was like, hey, that's pretty cool. That mentions you by name. Danielle.
TripAdvisor. You'll be blown away.
TripAdvisor. There we go. All right. So anyway, sorry about that. So we were talking about paranormal investigations and things.
Yeah. Okay. So the first experience I ever had in the house was when I spent the night when I was 16. I was walking down the hallway where the side door is like into the kitchen, and it felt like someone tugged my hoodie.
So this is before you worked there. This is just you as an interested person.
Yeah. Yep. And then the next morning, as we were gonna, go downstairs and have breakfast, I took the pillow off the chaise that was in Lizzie's room, and I threw it back into Emma's room. And we went downstairs. We had breakfast. When we came back up, the pillow was standing up, like hunched over like this, which I know sounds strange, but like pillows don't do this on their own. So I like put my hands around it, and I was just like, yeah, like that.
Yeah. I'm just trying to reenact it. I'm perfectly suited to reenact that pose.
You are.
So I couldn't resist. Sorry about that. Go ahead.
So the pillow was like that, and I started putting like my hands around it, thinking like, oh, this is a setup. Like someone came in here and strung some things up. And no, I took a picture. I still have the picture to this day. I wish I would have thought about it. I would have brought it out. But I've been touched a couple of times. My hair's been pulled. I felt fingers in the back of my neck.
Ooh.
I had hands run down the back, like doing a ghost hunting session. And then I've heard footsteps up and down the stairs, people talking to each other, dishes being put away, things falling. just to name a few.
Oh my goodness gracious! You got all kind of Well, I mean, you were in that place for a long time, and I got a feeling if there's a place that's going to be haunted, I mean, that's got to be in the top 10, surely.
We actually made it on the top 10 most haunted houses in America, or scariest places to visit, or haunted attractions so many times. I tell people all the time, if you don't know, you better Google us.
Yeah, oh yeah, get to Googling, ladies and gentlemen. There's a wealth of information out there. That's fantastic. Here's the thing, Danielle. I've been in some places. I've never been, to the Lizzie Borden house or anything, but I've been to some places that have been, reportedly haunted and things like that. And I've been in some spooky spots and things but I've never felt anything. Why do you think it is that ghosts don't like me?
I don't know.
They don't like me. I try to say, hey ghost, ghost, let me know if you are here, and we'll do the things, and we could talk, and maybe I could make you a sandwich or something like that. We'll do the thing, and then the ghost is like, nah, I ain't messing with that guy.
Past, have you tried using equipment?
What do you mean equipment? Like crystal ball?
Yeah, you should totally bring that with you.
I should bring that. Yeah, I should.
Like a K2 meter or a REM pod, something that it's like instant gratification. If there's a change in the electromagnetic,
yeah. As a scientist, I fully agree.
Electromagnetic frequencies, if those change in the area, there's equipment that will actually pick it up and change colors and stuff. So it's fun to use because then you can see it happening right before you, instead of like voice recorders, where I think voice recorders get a little tough for certain people because it's not instant gratification, and people don't time things. So like the human body, it makes noises, right? And if you're sitting there after having dinner and your stomach gurgles or you burp or you fart, people are too embarrassed to claim it. And then they think they got like a Class A EVP of a demon when they listen to it 2 weeks later. It's like, fart.
No, it turns out I was just hungry.
Yeah.
I forgot to eat my peanut butter jelly sandwich. That was just me. Sorry about that.
Yeah, exactly.
But you've had experiences, and you've done that. This is fascinating to me. I've never had any sort of experience. I've gone to so many places in the dark by myself and said, "Ghost, please do something, ghost," and I get nothing. But you've had things happen.
A lot of it has happened when I wasn't expecting it.
That may be my problem.
I mean, well, also too, I was in that place for 9 years, and I spent a lot of time there just doing housekeeping or doing tours, and I spent a lot of it alone in the house. So it's not like I was like, okay, I hope something paranormal happens so I have a story to tell. It was like I was just making the bed, and then I heard footsteps up the stairs, or I was doing something stupid like grabbing the fitted sheet and Superman diving over the bed, and I heard laughing behind me. Like
what?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Like bizarre things would happen. I walked into a shadow going up the back staircase, and I full on like prepared myself because I thought I was going to walk into another human, and I was like, I'm the only one here. All right, time to put my big girl pants on and keep doing my job.
Oh my goodness gracious.
There is never a dull moment there, living or dead.
That is fantastic. Bubba Vickers says, hi, Danielle, by the way.
Hi, Bubba.
I don't know if you know
Thanks
Bubba
for watching.
There we go. That's good. So you believe in like ghosts and things like that, like spirits haunting or hanging out around the house and things like that. What do you believe about all that?
Oh God, I really don't know, because I haven't just had experiences there. Like I traveled all up and down the East Coast doing like ghost hunts and things like that at different events. One of the apartments I used to live in was haunted, and I don't know. I'd like to think that it's residual, but at the same time intellectual. Like I would like to think that the interaction we're getting from spirits are at peace. Because I would hate to be stuck in like an endless loop. Like if I happen to tragically die in my house, like I hope I'm not stuck here for life.
Right.
I would hope that I can like just choose to haunt locations, and I can come and go as I please, and I want to stay around my family, or if I was brutally murdered in a place that keeps talking about it, like, keep haunting the people. Like, you know, I don't know.
Yeah.
I hope there's an afterlife, and I would like to think that they're trying to communicate with us the best way they can. And if you're respectful, they'll be respectful back for the most part. And if you're not, then, well, you know, prepared to have your world rocked.
Well, that's good. But, I feel the same way, because it seems like okay, if the Lizzie Borden house in which the murders took place, if they are haunted by the people who were murdered there, then it seems very unfair to me. It's like, not only were you just sitting there reading the newspaper and whammo, all of a sudden somebody comes up with a hatchet and hits you in the skull and now you're dead, but now you got to like repeat that for all eternity and a bunch of tourists and stuff like that. Like that, it doesn't seem fair. That does not seem fair. But I mean, is it those two people? Like, you've seen different things, you've seen some wacky stuff. Do you believe that it is the people that got murdered in that house, or do you think it's people that just live there, or who's doing these things is what I'm getting at?
Yeah, it's a great question, because I say this all the time, and I will say it until I go to my own grave. There's no experts in the paranormal field. And I don't mean that there aren't people who spend their lives studying the paranormal and know how to use the equipment and have a better understanding of it than I do. I'm just saying there's no experts in the paranormal field, in the sense that we're never going to have 100% definitive answer. And I'm a firm believer in it's not what you know, it's what you can prove.
Oh.
So I believe that it is the Bordens that are there, but I also believe there's other people there and there's other family members there. But the reason I believe other family members are there is because another tragic event happened right next door in the 1860s that were also related to the Borden family.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, okay. So if you look at the picture on your screen of the house,
oh yeah, I'll take a close
you're
look.
looking on the right-hand side of that. There's another yellow house there, and that is one of the only other original houses on the block. I think you cut it off. Is it behind you?
Oh, was it cut off? It may be over here. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I just googled this picture. I have no idea. I'm not sure.
Perfect. No, it's fine. So, right behind your head, for the story's sake, there is a yellow house. Oh, you see it?
That's right there. Yeah, I can see it. I can see it from here. Yeah, there it is. It's gorgeous. Yellow house. Yeah, it's great.
Yep. So it was built around the same time the Borden's house was, the greenhouse, around 1845.
Mm-hmm.
And Mr. Borden's uncle Ladwick used to live there with his wife Eliza, and they had a couple of children. They had Eliza, Holden, and Maria. And the story is, on one day when the woman was taking care of the house, one of the, I don't know if you'd call her a servant or a maid or whatever she was called, she had left, and the mother tried drowning all of the children in the well. And unfortunately, the two youngest ones did pass, so Eliza and Holden. The older daughter, Maria, she survived, so I'm not sure if the mother didn't try to drown her or if she was able to save herself. But the same day after she drowned her children, the mother went and found her husband's straight razor and slit her own throat. There's no good segue out of that, so
these are the next door neighbors you're talking? In this yellow house right over here that I can clearly see from where I'm at, because I'm on the street where the Lizzie Borden house is.
Yeah, so we think that those children are on the third floor, and there's actually a specific room on the third floor designated to the children that we deemed the children's room, but it's also known as the Hosea Knowlton room if you ever spend the night at the Borden house.
Wait, so the children from the yellow house, you believe are in the third room of the Borden house?
The third floor, yeah. We think that's where they hang out, because you can hear, you have a little sock. Mm-hmm. You can hear the pitter patter of little feet, which sounds way different than an adult running.
For sure.
You can hear kids laughing. Sometimes the toys up there move. Kids like to play with lights. Sometimes the lamps will turn on and off. You can feel a kid bump the bed every once in a while, and it's not like an adult bumping the bed. It's like a little kid running and just boom.
And just run. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
As an owner of a toddler, I can say that they definitely do stuff like that. They just run into stuff and be like, boop, and then they go, and they don't even know what they did or why they're laughing, but they do it.
Yeah.
But they're around. Did they ever come over to the Borden house? Like, did they visit? Why would they be in the Borden house?
That's
It's
that's
just
the
that close?
why are they there? I don't know if it's because they're comfortable there, because the Bordens are there and they are family.
Mm-hmm.
The Bordens in the yellow house did not live there at the same time the Bordens in the greenhouse did.
Okay.
So the only thing that I can think of is perhaps because the interior looks the same as theirs would have when they were alive, perhaps. I mean, I don't know. We like them there.
Yeah.
They're fun kids. I tell people all the time, they're not children of the corn. All they want to do is play.
I like that. No, that's good. Our good pal Joey Radza, he said, I always stayed on the 3rd floor where the children are.
Yeah, he stayed in the British Sullivan room, which is also my favorite room.
Is it really? Why is it your favorite room?
I've had kind of, well, yeah, when I've slept there, I've had the most activity in that room, and I just feel the most comfortable in there. I've heard like almost like someone throwing a ball up against the wall. I've heard the footsteps. I've had my bed bumped. I've had someone sit on the edge of the bed. I've heard people talking. I've heard footsteps coming up the stairs, doors open and close. Like, all that's happened when I was just trying to sleep, because I was, playing caretaker of the house when the owner was gone.
Right. Oh my goodness gracious! How did you feel in that time when it was happening? Were you scared, or were you like, oh, it's those kids? How's it going, kids? Good to see you. Hey, go to sleep, kids. Were you like a parent? You know what I mean? You were like, hey, settle down, kids. Come on, would you go to bed? I'm trying to sleep over here.
I mean, when I was looking for them, I would, encourage it. But when I was trying to go to bed, I'd be like, not tonight, guys.
Yeah, settle down. Children. I understand you're caught in some sort of strange eternal loop that I can't understand as a human, because I haven't passed on to the next phase of being. But if you could chill out for a second, that'd be great. Oh my goodness, great. Is that Fuzzy Butt? Who is that?
This is Fuzzy Butt.
Oh my goodness gracious, ladies and gentlemen, it's Fuzzy Butt. If you don't know, Fuzzy Butt has their own Instagram. Their very own Instagram, Life of Fuzzy Butt.
Yeah.
And it's fantastic. And it's funny because we were talking in the green room before we went live, and you were telling me that was your cat, and I had no idea. I followed you, and I followed Fuzzy Butt, but I thought Fuzzy Butt was just a cat who had Instagram. I didn't think anything of it. I didn't know it was your cat.
Yeah.
But that's pretty cool. That's fantastic. What's going on there, Misbehavior? Good to see you, my friend. And Rick Henry, welcome to the things. Welcome to the things. We're talking to our good pal, Danielle Cabral. Did I say that right?
You did.
I don't know why I'm so paranoid about your name. I don't know why it is. I always feel like I'm going to say it wrong.
Does the Portuguese make you nervous?
Yeah, it must be. It must be. I think maybe somebody from Portugal done me wrong in a past life or something like that. I have no idea. I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah, you could just call me D or Danielle or Danny, whatever boat you float.
Okay. Yeah. Either way, that's good. So you were there for a very long time doing the tours. What is the tour consist of? Like you would like kind of walk people through and be like, in this room is where they would use the bathroom. I'm assuming you're in the bathroom in this scenario.
So when you'd start the tour, we would invite you in the front door as like a guest of the Borden family. And then we'd bring you into the parlor, which was reserved for guests. Mm-hmm. And we would tell you like the layout of the house and, what the house was originally built for. A little bit of the history on the house. We'd start talking about the family themselves who lived there, explain what's original to the house, and then we'd kind of jump into the story. So we start off by talking about the trial and her being acquitted. And then as we move throughout the house, we get deeper into the story. So in the dining room, we talk about the autopsies, because Mrs. Borden's autopsy was done in the dining room. Mr. Borden, yeah. Mr. Borden's was done next door in the room that he was killed in. And we talk about the alibis, the murders. People's alibis were bizarre, for the time, I would think. And one of the things that I like to do a lot was I tell people when they would take my tour, my opinion does not matter. I'm going to give you the facts. You're going to come up with your own conclusions. So I'm going to put you at the murder scene. And from that, you tell me who did it.
Oh, I like that. That's good. That's good.
Like where all the blood spatter was. And I'd say, okay, so based on this, and I got this from you, by the way. Since the blood spatter clearly isn't all cattywampus here, where do you think the murderer was? What was the murder weapon that was used?
Wait a minute. You would say the blood spatter isn't cattywampus?
Yeah, people would ask me like, oh, so it was just like erratic. And I would say, well, no, it couldn't have been erratic. And they couldn't have switched hands because then the blood spatter would be all cattywampus, and it wasn't.
Oh, that makes me so happy. So you would tell the people on your tour about, you would say cattywampus?
I would say about 50% of all people that have taken my tour have heard me say cattywampus at one point in time, and it is because of you.
Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah, that was going to be the next thing. I was going to say, where did you hear that word cattywampus from? Did you look it up in the dictionary?
Nope, from Suck Up.
Oh, that makes me so happy. Oh, so stoked. Good to see you, Josh Woods. Thank you so much for stopping by. We're talking to our good friend Danielle Cabral. I can't say it. Danielle. We're talking to our good friend G.
Just read.
Cabral. Oh, there we go. Cabral established 1988 yesterday. That's a fantastic tattoo, by the way. That's super cool. And she worked for many, many years at the Lizzie Borden house, the bed and breakfast thing, doing tours and cooking eggs and things like that. So we're having a good time and talking. If you're just joining us, there we go. So you would do you would bring the people in. You would tell them kind of a little bit of the history, and tell them sort of like a highlight of events and things. How long is the tour?
The day tours were an hour, and I'm speaking in past tense because I don't know where things are moving forward with the bed and breakfast now. Mm-hmm. So I'm just talking about like what I did when I was there.
Yeah, you're not there anymore, but you were for many years.
Yeah. Okay. I left in at the end of May.
Okay. Yeah. So very recent.
Very recent, yeah. Still kind of bittersweet, Yeah. But new chapters in life,
That's the way that it goes. So you doing some schooling and things like that, and you're going to school for history, which that seems perfect. So is this kind of what sparked your interest in history?
Yeah, 100%. I knew cool. I wanted something else with my life, but I didn't know what. My body was getting really beat to crap cooking. I was working like 2 or 3 jobs at a time, and I was just getting so exhausted and run down. And when I started working there, people were asking me questions and I couldn't answer it. And I loved being stumped because then I realized that I liked doing the research and finding the answers and finding out more things. And I would tell people constantly, and I still do today, if they ask me a question about it or if they want to do their own research, do it. Fall down the rabbit hole because it's so much fun. You'd be amazed at what is out there. Like, even people who are adamant on saying, I know this story, I know it like the back of my hand, I know it in and out, you're still going to learn more. I know the story like the back of my hand, but I am constantly learning new stuff all the time.
Oh my goodness. So if you, who have been giving tours at the place for like 9 years, are still learning new stuff, oh my goodness gracious. Who do you think you are, fella, just strolling up there, looking at it on an Airbnb or whatever, thinking you're going to just drop in the place and school some folks with your knowledge and things like that? These folks live it. They live it. And they're still learning stuff. And this is what, like 130 something years or whatever? This is a long time ago.
Yeah, this happened in 1892.
1892. Oh my goodness gracious. So Lizzie Borden never had a MySpace.
Well, she had her space, but
but she was never friends with Tom, is what I'm getting at. So they didn't do that. So why did they think that Lizzie Borden did it? Would she have a reason to do the things? Was the father a total jerk? Was he like, Lizzie Borden, you get in your room and you start mopping, girl, or something like that? Like, what is it? How was that? Why did they think she did it?
No, it wasn't like a Cinderella angry stepmother horrible father story. It was just the series of events that happened. So they asked her where she was when the murders occurred, and she said that when her stepmother was killed, she was in the house ironing downstairs and heard nothing. And then when her father was killed, she was one of the last people to see him alive. And after he went to go take his nap, she went outside to the barn to eat some pears, look for lead for a sinker to go fishing.
As we often do.
As one does, yes, exactly. And when she came back inside, she found her father brutally murdered. I mean, he was still bleeding when she found him. And so between her and the maid, they were the only two people on the property at the time. Mr. Borden was let into a locked house when he came home, which was almost an hour and a half after Mrs. Borden had been murdered and just sitting in the house in the guest bedroom, deceased upstairs.
Wait,
So-
an hour and a half, you said?
Yeah, between both murders. Mrs. Borden was killed first around 9:30 in the morning, and then around a couple minutes after 11 o'clock, Mr. Borden was killed.
I had no idea there was that much of a lag in between the
Yeah.
killings.
And that's one of the things I try to ask people, like, with that huge gap in between murders, is this something that was premeditated? Was Mrs. Borden the intended? Was Mr. Borden the intended? Was it one killer? Was it two? Was it an inside job? Was someone paid? Like, there's so many variables to the story, and the hour and a half between both murders doesn't make much sense. So it makes you wonder if either were just supposed to be the intended and not both. But when both the bodies were found, it basically just came down to they couldn't find a suspect, and Fall River Police Department was made a mockery of. And I mean, well, their motto was, "We'll try." Not making this up. You
We'll
can't make
try.
So they did. And when they arrested Lizzie Borden, they made a mockery of the Fall River PD again, saying, "Oh, let's arrest someone, the daughter of the two brutal murdered people." So there was no bail for murder back in 1892. And after she went through the coroner's inquest, the judge deemed her probably guilty, especially in the instance if she were a man in the same circumstance, with her testimony all over the place and not being able to really account for her whereabouts and no one to prove her alibi. They put her in jail, and there was no facilities for women in Fall River, so they had to haul her 12 miles away to Taunton jail. She sat there for 10 months awaiting trial. She was held on 3 counts of murder, by the way, not 2, even though there's only 2 bodies. She was held on 3.
How did that happen?
So the murder of her father, the murder of her stepmother, and then the murder of her father and stepmother together. 3 counts, which is a little ridiculous, if you ask me.
Yeah, that sounds a little ridiculous.
Yeah, so 10 months later, the trial starts in 1893. Trial lasts 13 days, and she's acquitted in less than an hour by a jury of her peers. I say peers because in 1893, women didn't have the right to vote, so women had no right to sit on a jury. So the jury of her peers was all white, upper-class men.
It was all a bunch of dudes.
Yeah. And on top of that, when the trial comes to a close, if you think about this as, like, black and white as possible, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have no murder weapon. You can't, without a doubt, prove motive.
Wait, they didn't find the hatchet?
No.
They had to, so they're just guessing about the hatchet, I guess.
Well, so it's almost like if someone gets shot today, we'll be able to tell that they got shot with a 9mm handgun.
Oh, I gotcha. Okay, yeah.
Gun, you have no murder weapon.
Gotcha.
So they knew they were killed with a hatchet, but they never found the hatchet. There was a hatchet that was used in court as evidence. It was the infamous handleless hatchet that was found in the basement of the Borden house. And they thought it had blood and hair on it. But when they analyzed it, the blood was rust, the hair was animal. It was never proven to be the murder weapon. And like I said, no murder weapon was ever found. But the part that blows my mind the most is that they used that hatchet in court as evidence.
They used the hatchet that was used to kill a rusty animal at some point?
Yeah.
As evidence?
They're like, oh, this must be the murder weapon.
That's a hatchet. Close enough. That's fine.
Yeah, so they use that in court as evidence. So you have no murder weapon.
Mm-hmm.
You can't, without a doubt, prove motive. And there's no bloody clothes connecting any murderer to the crime scenes.
Oh, so wait. So Lizzie didn't have no bloody clothes?
No. So the big scandal is that the murders happened on Thursday, and on Sunday, the day after the funeral, Lizzie was seen in the kitchen burning a dress. So this is in all the movies. Some show her outside burning a dress. Some show her not burning a dress at all. But so she's in the kitchen. She goes to burn the dress. Her friend Alice Russell was staying over to kind of like comfort the girls during this time because her sister Emma was still there. The maid left. she got the hell out of Dodge as soon as she could. So Lizzie's in the kitchen. She's tearing up a dress. She says, oh, this old thing is covered in paint. I'm going to burn it. And her sister, who was in the general vicinity, hollers something like, yeah, you should. Why don't you? Something like that. So when Alice Russell comes in and saw Lizzie burning the dress, tearing up the dress, she said, what are you going to do? And Lizzie held the dress up and said, it's covered in paint. I'm going to burn it. Well, the side door was open so the police could see inside the house. And Lizzie just stepped to the side of the stove, which conveniently or coincidentally puts her out of the eye line of the officers. Now, I don't know if she was trying to move out of the eye line or if she was just stepping into a location that was more convenient to put something into the stove. And back then, there was no garbage pickup. So if you can't burn something, you bury it, but you can burn a dress.
This is true.
So she buried it. Now, the most intense part of this is the aftermath. Alice Russell, the friend who told Lizzie not to burn the dress, went to her lawyers a couple of days later, told them what happened, and went back to Lizzie and said, burning that dress is the worst thing that you could have done. Because if they ask me about it in court, I'm going to tell them. And boy, did she. When the trial started, she threw Lizzie under the bus hard. But she said she saw what looked like brown paint on the bottom of the dress, which was huge for the defense. Because then the dressmaker testified in court on Lizzie's behalf and said that months before the murders, she had fit Lizzie for a dress. And the day she tried it on to show her sister, she had scuffed up against a baseboard, freshly painted to a brown paint, and ruined her dress instantly. So now 4 people in the court of law have testified that they saw paint, Freudian slip, paint. So you have the best friend who threw her under the bus said she saw what looked like paint on the bottom of the dress and nowhere else. And then you have the dressmaker, Lizzie, and Emma's word saying, yeah, there's paint on a dress. So again, it's not what you know, it's what you can prove. That dress is burned. As far as we're concerned, that dress doesn't exist and there was nothing on it.
That's exactly right. That's true. Wow, that is weird. What, burning dresses a couple days after a brutal murder? I don't know.
Now, she was on morphine, though, because back then morphine was given as like most likely like a Xanax than anything else. It wasn't meant to like put you in la la land. It was just made to quiet the nerves. Yeah. And keep in mind, no matter what happened, and I like to remind people of this, whether Lizzie Borden was innocent or guilty, she still saw her father brutally murdered. Oof. It's safe to say one was beside herself, and she was. So the doctor prescribed her morphine to calm her down. Later on in the day, she was still kind of beside herself, and he doubled her dose of morphine. So when the coroner's inquest happened and the funeral and her burning the dress, she's on this double dose of morphine and a dose of bromocaffeine, which is used to alleviate migraines.
Bromo what?
Bromocaffeine.
Oh, okay. If you say so.
Indeed. So she was a little, I would say, out of her element mentally. I'm not saying she was loopy, because when you go back and you look at what they said during the coroner's inquest, her mental state was never in question. Her demeanor didn't seem off. She was just being berated with all these questions from the prosecuting lawyer, and she was upset. I mean, she basically looked at the judge and said, I have no one to counsel me. I've been asked so many questions and I'm so confused. Right. And he was like, oh, fine. This is the coroner's inquest. You don't need a counsel. And didn't even allow her lawyer to come in the room with her.
Oh, wow. That's a little unfair. I got to say, that's a little unfair.
So there's a lot to the story, like the ins and outs, where I think a lot of people hop on the bandwagon of saying that, of course, Lizzie killed her parents because they were terrible people. It's good justification if you truly believe that Lizzie Borden did it. But if you don't, and you just go by the evidence, there's not a lot to back that theory up. I mean, Mr. Borden, 6 months after city water became available, they had running water in the home. Were bathrooms available on living floors? Of course, but that to him was a modern convenience, and he didn't want to spend his money on unnecessary things, like bathrooms. If you're 90 and you don't have an iPad, you're not going to run to Walmart and get an iPad. It's unnecessary. It's a modern convenience.
That's true. Yeah, that makes sense.
So he bought the best cuts of meat. Whether or not they stayed that way is a different story, but we'll just skip over that.
Well, he was a bad chef?
No, he just So back in the Victorian time, you didn't put your food in the ice box after you cooked it. You just let it sit on the stove. So a couple of days before the murders happened, they were having mutton and broth for about a 3-day run. And
I do love mutton and broth, though.
Oh, it's great. Yeah, especially when it sits out in a heat wave for 3 days and goes bad.
Oh, wait, not so much. Yeah, no, that's gross.
No, yeah. So they were sick before the murders, and that's why everyone thought that they were being poisoned. Because Lizzie was seen at the pharmacy the day before the murders trying to buy some prussic acid, which is poison, and she said she wanted to clean moths out of a sealskin cape. So Eli Bentz, who was the pharmacist, actually testified and said that Lizzie did come in to try to buy the prussic acid, but he said to her, if you don't have a physician's prescription, you can't buy that. And she said, well, I've gotten it here before. And he said, not by me. And she left. And then Mrs. Borden went to the doctor the day before the murders and said, my God, the whole family's been poisoned. We're all sick. We're vomiting. There was nothing weird on the table. Like, this shouldn't be happening. And the doctor was like, oh, you're just suffering from food poisoning, the summer illness. And poison was ruled out as a motive. But it didn't stop them from taking the stomachs out of both of the bodies when they did the autopsies, which is the reason they did the autopsies in the first place, was to search for poison. And poison was never found, which is why it was ruled out as a motive.
Oh. Well, why? So people said because the parents were jerks. Were they jerks?
Not that we can prove. I mean, I think Mrs. Borden, the stepmother, she was a nice woman from what we can tell from, you know, the neighbors and things that were documented. But I think Mr. Borden married her out of necessity. He really needed a mother for his children because his wife had passed away when Lizzie was only 2.5 years old. And
wow. Was Lizzie, was she the oldest, Lizzie?
No, she was the youngest.
Oh, she was the youngest. So Emma and all them, they were older?
Yeah.
So how many of them were there? There was Lizzie, Emma.
There was Lizzie and Emma when the murders happened. So there was a sister between the two girls. Her name was Alice, but she died at, I believe, 1 year and 7 months of water on the brain. So Lizzie never met her sister.
Oh my goodness gracious, that's horrible.
Yeah. But I think a lot of people just assume that they had a great relationship and it just kind of went bad, or it was just always bad. But Lizzie called the stepmother mother up until 5 years before the murders. And then she started calling her Mrs. Borden. And a lot of people think it was devious. And there was a little bit of issues in the family with like money changing hands and Mr. Borden helping out his wife financially. The girls caught wind of it, didn't care for it too much. And one can only speculate that they saw their inheritance dwindle. And Emma was basically like, look, if you're going to take care of her family, you better take care of us too. So he did. He gave the girls the house they were born into. And then they sold it back to him for $5,000 2 weeks before the murders. But when Lizzie was asked in court why she left off calling Mrs. Borden mother, all she said was, because I wanted to. So they said, you have no other response? She said, well, I have no other response except for that. They said, well, what was your relationship like with your stepmother? Cordial? She said, well, that depends on one's idea of cordiality. They said, well, what is your idea of cordiality? She said, we were friendly. We were very friendly. So if you want to read between the lines with that, you could make it as devious as you'd like to.
Right.
But what her intentions behind what she said, we'll never know.
Oh, my goodness gracious. Wait, what was the first thing she said? He said that depends on how you define cordiality or something like that?
Yeah.
That doesn't sound like some murdering words to me. It doesn't sound like murdering words. I've never met a murderer that said, well, that depends on how you define cordiality.
Yeah.
Not a whole lot of murderers know the word cordiality. But I guess it was a different time, so who knows?
Yeah, definitely was I actually have a huge a Lizzie Borden thigh piece.
What?
And, yeah.
You have Lizzie Borden's thigh?
Yeah, just dug it right up. No. Tattoo.
Oh, okay. A thigh tattoo. Oh, okay. You have a thigh tattoo based on Lizzie. Okay, all right. I follow you now.
Yeah. I'm only bringing that up because one of the pieces that I have tattooed on me, which has just stuck with me for years, Lizzie was interviewed a couple of times when she was in jail. And I forget what the beginning of the story was, but she had written a letter to one of her friends, and she said, they keep carting me from here and there and asking me all these questions. And then she says, but I will have my way with them by and by. Because she was basically insinuating that everyone was just having their way with her. So, but I will have my way with them by and by. And I don't know what she meant by it, but I would like to think that she was just so frustrated of not having any control over her life that she was basically saying, when I get in court and they acquit me because I'm innocent, I will have my way with them.
Oh, that makes
Maybe.
sense.
I don't know.
She got some scratch out of the deal.
Oh, yeah. When Mr. Borden died, there was no will ever found, which I find absurd. But that's neither here nor there. I digress. All the money went to his next of kin, which was Emma, and then she split it with Lizzie. So Mr. Borden, I love his story because it's so humble. He started as a carpenter and he apprenticed under Southard Miller, the man who built the lovely greenhouse behind you.
Oh, yeah, he did a good job. It looks
Right?
very sturdy, very sturdy.
Yeah. And from there, he went into business with William Almy. And I'm only bothering to tell you this because they opened up a store called Borden, Almy and Company. And one of the things they did there was made and sold coffins. So
that's creepy. That's
Right?
a little creepy right there. Made and sold. But I guess anybody, I mean, really, if you think about it, anybody that makes and sells coffins, eventually they're going to die some way or another and then be put in a coffin. So it's like, oh, isn't that creepy? He made coffins and then eventually he was put one. It's like, well, I mean, aren't we all?
Yeah. So
but anyway, sorry about that.
Thing started from there. The Mr. Borden rumors of how he used to cut the feet and the legs off people to fit them in the casket so he wouldn't have to make larger caskets and would charge people for the larger caskets. It was a whole debacle. None of it was true.
Oh.
But then from there, he goes into banking and real estate, which is how he made his real money. So Mr. Borden truly was a self-made man in 70 years and worth around $350,000 when he died.
That's
and
like $10 million today.
You're so close, yeah. On the high end, it'd be like $12 million.
Why? Oh, get out of town. That's fantastic. Good guess,
Yeah.
Sock Hop. Way to go. I'd pat myself on the back, but I don't have any hands. Go ahead.
I'll pat you on the back.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate the patting. Yeah, there we go. That's good.
I can't reach out of the TV.
Yeah, that's the close. I can get close to
Yeah.
that. There we go. That's it. All
There
right,
you
the
go.
pat on the back. There we go. All right, now I feel vindicated. Go ahead.
You've been like spot on with a lot of this. Like I'm pretty sure you've heard the story before.
No, I don't know a whole lot about it. I was just that was actually just a wild guess. But yeah, I tried to listen because you've done some podcasts and things like that before. You've talked to people about this before, so I tried to listen to them. But you know how podcasts and these dadgum streaming shows. That would you focus the camera for what? Could you focus the camera? I'm all fuzzy over here. What are you, drunk? Would you stop? Focus the camera. Oh my God, I apologize for this, Danielle. I don't know what's going on over there. But anyway, the point is that you've been on a bunch of podcasts and stuff lately. Would you focus the camera? It's ridiculous. All right, there we go. All right, finally. All right, there we go. So you've been on some podcasts and things. I try to listen to it, but you know how these dadgum internet hosts and stuff do. They get their guests jibber jabbering for an hour and a half, 2 hours, and it's like I ain't got time for that. Who's got time for that? You know what I mean? So I tried to listen to a few of them, and heard some of the stories, but I didn't hear no $12 million wealthy thing or whatever. That's all me. I'm giving myself credit for that one. That's okay.
Yeah, as you should.
So I've had some people message. They said, "What about the maid?" They said, "I think the maid did it."
Okay.
What's the deal with the maid?
So Bridget Sullivan was their maid. A lot of people over the years have heard her referred to as Maggie. So there's two different reasons she could be called Maggie.
Uh-huh.
And I'll tell you what I think after I describe the two reasons. So
Okay.
There was a maid prior to Bridget whose name was Maggie at the Borden house. And some people assumed that the girls didn't want to learn a new name, so they just called Bridget Maggie.
Okay.
However, the historian in me has to do some detailed research, and I came to find that back in the time in Fall River, according to the Fall River elites, everyone had a Maggie. So a Maggie was used as a term to refer to female Irish immigrants. So whether they meant it as a derogatory slur or not, it was a derogatory slur against female Irish immigrants.
Oh. So anybody that was female from Ireland, they were like, "Oh, you must be named Maggie."
Exactly.
Racist.
So
racist.
Exactly. So a lot of the Irish would be maids,
Mm-hmm.
which is why the Fall River elite would say everyone has a Maggie, because everyone had a maid.
Gotcha.
So I am inclined to believe that they called her Maggie for that reason. However, I don't want to put words in their mouth because I don't know. So just moving forward with the story, if you find both names, it is the same person. They even addressed her in court as Maggie, which makes me believe even more that it was a completely racist thing, because
wow, yeah,
call her name.
It's like, oh, you're a lady, and you're from Ireland. Oh, you're Maggie. That's Maggie. No, actually, my name. No, it doesn't matter. You're Maggie. You're Maggie.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well,
So
that's horrible.
I call her Bridget because that's her real name. So
good. I'm glad.
At the time
Bridget.
of
I'll
murder,
call her Bridget too if I can remember that name.
Perfect.
'Cause Maggie's just more fun to say, but that's neither here nor there.
It is. Yeah. No, it is. So she was working for the Bordens for 2 years and 9 months at the time of the murders. She came from Ireland and, like most other immigrants, landed in New York. Her first job in the States, as far as I can track down, was in Newport, Rhode Island, which is cool and near and dear to my heart because I live 15 minutes away from the house she used to work at, which is still plaqued to this day.
What? That's cool.
And then she bounced around for a little while before eventually settling in Fall River, Massachusetts. So when she started working for the family, she was getting paid $3 a week, which I know doesn't sound like a lot. But a little while after her time there, she became very close with Mrs. Borden. And then she had threatened to leave. And the story has it, the rumor has it, I really should say, because this isn't documented anywhere, is that Mrs. Borden gave her a raise out of her own allowance to keep her there. So at the time of the murders, Mrs. Borden and Bridget were both getting paid $4 a week. Mrs. Borden from her husband, and then Bridget from the Bordens. $4 a week would be a little over $100 a week today. So as a live-in maid who had no rent and no bills, that was pretty good.
That is pretty good. Yeah, that ain't bad at all. Wait, so she was getting paid? Mrs. Borden was getting paid by Mr. Borden. He was like giving her like an allowance or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, she would get, because she was a housewife, so she didn't have to work because he was definitely well off. So she did clean. I mean, she liked cleaning, so she would clean the first floor. Bridget was basically there for the heavy duty stuff, like the beating of the rugs, stoking the fire, washing the windows was a big one, which was great.
These windows, they get dirty. I can tell. There's one right here that's getting a little filthy back here. But
that's probably the one that she didn't get to the day of the murders, because she was actually standing right there when Mrs. Borden was killed.
No way.
Yep.
Get out of town. Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, she was washing windows and talking to the Kelly's maid next door, Mary Doolan. So if you look over your other shoulder where the yellow house is.
Yeah, I see it.
Yep, that's where Mary Doolan was.
Oh, Mary. Hey, what's going on there, Mary? Good to see you, Mary Doolan. Hey, I'm glad. Hey, what are you beating a rug? You beating a rug? Oh, you're doing a great job. You're doing a great job. Yep, she's doing great over there. Beating that rug. I tell you, that rug has got all kind of dust coming out of it. You doing good. Keep it up. Yes, indeed.
I wish I had you on my tours.
Oh man, that would be so much fun. Let's go back and do it. Even if we don't get paid, let's just give tours. Just renegade tours. That nobody knows. That would be so much fun. So she was there, doing things, beating rugs and whatnot. But she was just sort of like, it sounds like, even though they used a racial slur as her name, it sounds like that she was a pretty good like integrated into the family.
Yeah, I mean,
like they didn't hate her. They wouldn't like, oh look, it's that dadgum Maggie. Here she comes. I can't stand her. She's always over here jibber jabbering about whatever. They were like, hey, what's going on? It's Maggie. Good to see you, my friend.
Yeah, for the most part. I mean, the girls called her Maggie, but Mr. and Mrs. Borden called her Bridget, and As far as we know, she had a decent time when she was in the house. I mean, the murders obviously made her career there take a turn for the worse, but she did have an alibi. A lot of people do suspect that it was her, like, as an inside job. Maybe she was in cahoots with someone, or maybe she was just miserable and that's why she left, and after she killed him, of course. But I don't think personally the theory holds water, because again, it's not what you know, it's what you can prove.
Right.
She would have nothing to gain. I mean, there's no way she would be guaranteed money unless she was in cahoots with Lizzie and then Lizzie paid her off. You know, I mean,
that's true, yeah. Because you kill the people that's paying you. I mean, game over, basically. You know
right,
what I mean?
You killed your cow. You know, you killed your cash cow.
Yeah, exactly.
But she has an alibi when Mrs. Borden was killed, right? She's outside washing the windows, talking to Mary Dillon next door there. And then when Mr. Borden was killed, she had gone upstairs to lie down and told Lizzie that right beforehand. And Lizzie even backed her up in court and was like, yeah, she went upstairs to lie down. So the city hall clock strikes 11 that morning, and then minutes later, Lizzie starts screaming up the back stairs for her to come down quick. So she had an alibi for both murders.
That makes sense. What happened to her after the murders? I mean, did she just hang around the house or what? Who was giving her $4?
No. So she ended up. Oh, this is such a messed up story. Okay, so the murders happened.
Don't make me cry. Don't make me cry.
No, you won't cry. It's just one of those, like, is this real life? Did this really happen?
Oh, okay.
Thursday, the murders happen. She leaves. Friday morning, the Uncle John, who was staying the night there before the murders happened.
Oh, that guy, Uncle John. Yeah, we're going to get to that. Anyway, go ahead.
That's very suspicious guy.
Mm-hmm.
So he went down the street where she was staying and knocked on the door and said, "You're paid to the end of the week. Come back and cook breakfast," which was literally that day. So she did, and then she packed her and never came back. But she had to stay in town because of the trial. So the town, or the city, I should say, paid her $4 a week awaiting trial. So she still had an income. The trial ends, she disappears. Now, rumor flew that Lizzie had paid her off to make her go back home to Ireland and keep her mouth shut. But the rumors never proved to be true. So a lot of us who worked there, I mean, myself included, I tried going back to the census to, like, find out where she went for those couple of years. And let's face it, we're talking about 1893, 1894. A lot of that information is lost to history, or some of it was even destroyed in fires. So we finally found her. We tracked her down in Anaconda, Montana in 1898, which I know sounds super bizarre.
What?
But it's during the Go West and Prosper movement. So a lot of Irish move west to farm. It's not hard to fathom that she moved west to farm with family. And then eventually she'd meet a Jonathan Sullivan in 1905, got married, never had kids. But she never spoke about what happened in the house that day to anybody, not even to her husband, at least not that we can prove. And she ended up dying in 1948 at the age of 82, but she outlived Lizzie and Emma by 21 years. So
Holy
if she
cow.
knew anything, she kept her silence.
Oh, my, you want to talk about keeping secrets? If there was something to keep secret, she was good at it. Oh,
That's
Bridget. She had it going on. Wow, that's fantastic. I had no idea. So Montana, you say?
Anaconda, Montana.
Anaconda, Montana. That sounds like, first of all, that sounds like a made up place.
Yeah.
Anaconda, Montana. It's like, where you from? Like if you're on the witness protection program, somebody's like, hey, where you from? I'm from by Anaconda, Montana. Yeah, Anaconda, Montana. That's where I'm from.
Yeah.
Don't worry about me. You just go on down the road and do the things.
Go over to Mary Dillon's house.
Yeah, go over to Mary Dillon over here. Hey, go beat a rug over there. Well, what's the name? And have you a good time. Wow. There's so much going on with this story. Now, is this now one thing that I thought was very interesting? You can find pictures of like the murder scenes and things like that, and there is speculation that this is the first like crime scene photographs. Is that true?
Yeah, you did your research, Sakat.
Well, I just heard somebody said that it was the first crime scene photograph, and I was like, what? Nobody thought of that until this, or maybe when was the camera invented? I don't remember.
Quite a while before. Yeah, like early 1800s, I think.
And nobody thought to photograph a crime scene until like 92 years later?
No. So the fascinating part is the first crime scene photos taken in history were in 1888 of Jack the Ripper.
Oh, so this is the first ones in America, I guess.
Yeah, as far as we can prove, they were first crime scene photos taken in America, and the guy's name was Joe. Oh, boo! I think it was Joe Walsh. That doesn't sound right. That's
Joe. What? I think he was in the Eagles. Whatever, doesn't matter.
I'm pretty sure it was Walsh.
Either way, I'm pretty sure he's dead. So he's not going to call and complain or anything. So
Joey, if you're listening, can you just comment below?
Joe, I got my crystal ball here. Joe, what is your last name, Joe?
Do you see it? In the crystal ball?
Oh, in the crystal ball. Oh, that's probably. I'm a terrible psychic. I have no idea how any of this works. I was looking away from the crystal ball. I thought the crystal ball would whisper in my ear. That's why I was looking this way. But apparently not. No, he says, no, not Joe Esterhaus. That's the guy that wrote Striptease. I don't want to talk to him. I want to talk to the other Joe that took the pictures of the thing. What? Anyway, I'm wasting time here.
Yeah. So the guy with the face down the street there, he took the photos.
Yeah. And I can see him. There he is with his camera, looking very professional. There he is down there. Joe. Hey, what's going on, Joe? You ready to take some pictures? Let's do this. All right, here we go.
So they brought him to the crime scene. And the reason why I think that no crime scene photos were taken up until that point is post-mortem photography, use your words, was such a prevalent thing back then. They would take pictures of deceased all the time,
right,
with family members laying in bed, right on the cusp of death. But it wasn't every day that people were getting brutally murdered. So this is the first time,
really,
with like an elitist family, kind of, relatively speaking,
right,
that they needed crime scene photos to be taken. It's like, we need to capture the scene. We need to figure out who done it, basically, because at that point there was no like person covered in blood running down the street. There was no murder weapon just laying by the bodies. They really had nothing to go on. And I think that's what like led them to want to take pictures of the crime scene and documented that. And the Jack the Ripper, Jack the Ripper was the first story in history that was covered worldwide actively. The Lizzie Borden story was the second case in history that was covered worldwide as it was unfolding. So
I didn't know that.
Yeah, this story was actually covered in Australia, New Zealand, and Wales, just to name a few. They got the details horribly wrong. They butchered it, if you will. It was a real hack job. But but the story got out there.
Wow, that's fantastic. There's so much. I had no idea that it was like so much history. Is that why that this case has hit? Would you focus the camera? Oh my goodness! I apologize, Danielle. The unprofessionalism. It's just. I hate to say. All right, there we go. I hate to say. It feels like somebody's trying to attack my credibility with some sort of hatchet. That's what it feels like. But is that why this case has endured these 100 and something years? Is it? Do you think it was like the first big one? Is that what it was? You think if like a week earlier, if somebody else would have brutally murdered their people and they took pictures of it, then we wouldn't know about Lizzie Borden at all?
Oh, good question. I still think the Lizzie Borden case would hold more water only because it's a woman that was accused. I think that's the part of it. It's not just that it's unsolved, but it was a woman that was standing trial for the potential brutal hatchet murder of two people.
That's true.
And you have a suspect, Uncle John, the sketchy suspect.
I'm glad you brought that guy up. Yeah.
Yes. So he's a butcher by trade.
Well, first of all, there's your first clue right there. He's a butcher who uses what? Hatchets, probably. Sure. I don't know how butchers work, but they probably use hatchets.
Yeah, a sharp instrument or two was definitely used in the butchering.
Use some sort of knife to cut up them cows and pigs and whatnot.
Mm-hmm. So he's a butcher by trade, eventually gets into horse and cattle trade, and then he moves out west as well. So at the time, he was living in Hastings, Iowa.
Mm-hmm.
but he had come back into around Fall River before the murders occurred for about a year or so. And he telegrammed Mr. Borden saying he was going to be in town in business. Mr. Borden says, great, we look forward to your arrival. So a lot of people think the uncle is sketchy right off the bat because of how he shows up. You know, he shows up to what some believe as unannounced, which it wasn't. They knew he was coming. And he shows up with nothing, right? So why would you go spend the night somewhere and have nothing with you? Well, we're talking about 1892. They didn't exactly change their clothes all that often back then.
This is true.
Let alone bring a spare change of clothes. And Uncle John's motto was, if what I wear gets dirty, I'll throw this away and buy something else.
Oh, well, look at Uncle John with his thing. Now, was he the dad's brother or the mom's brother, or who was he? What uncle?
He's the birth mother's brother.
The birth mother's brother. Okay, so he wasn't related to the dad.
Not to the dad, but he was the girl's uncle by blood.
Right. Okay. Gotcha. Okay.
So he comes over. He sleeps there the night of the murders. He leaves the house early that morning around 8:30. Tells Mr. Borden that he'll be back for the noon meal with him, and he goes out about his day. So he stops at the post office, continues on to a Bassett Street to go visit his niece, spends a little while there, and then comes back to 2nd Street by trolley around between like 11:30 and 11:45. By this point in time, Mr. Borden's body has been discovered. The police are finally making their way there. Oh, by the way, side note, most of the Fall River PD is busy with an annual function at Rocky Point.
What's going on at Rocky Point? It's
their annual picnic outing, so not even in the state. There was no better day to commit a murder than August 4th, 1892.
Oh,
because of rookies with a few senior officers left in Fall River.
Yep, that's right, Joey Razda. We're talking about Uncle John right now. We're talking about you came back at just the perfect point. We're talking about sneaky, old, suspicious, old Uncle John. Him and his no extra clothes carrying, trolley taking, niece visiting, his whole thing.
Yep. So he gets back to the house, and there's quite a few people standing outside by this point. I mean, you have, of course, the nosy neighbors, the busybodies, and everything else. He walks up the side driveway into the backyard, picks some pears, because, you know, you do.
Yeah.
And walks around to the side of the door, starts talking to one of the officers. Now, the officer said, you know, what did you see when you got home? And the uncle says, I'm paraphrasing here, nothing that attracted my attention. The officer says, you saw nothing out of the way. The uncle says, I saw nothing that attracted my attention at all. So they try to backtrack his alibi. So he's seen at the post office. He's seen at his niece's house. He's seen on the trolley. The trolley had 6 priests on it, and Uncle John knew their first and last names. He also recalled the trolley driver's cap number and the trolley number itself. All 6 priests are found, corroborate his story, bada bing, bada boom. He's taken off as a suspect by having a rock-solid alibi.
Well, that sounds pretty rock-solid to me.
And then here we have the plot twist.
I was waiting for it. Here we go.
Okay. So Uncle John is being questioned by one of the reporters that was standing outside. And the reporter is in the middle of a couple of questions. The uncle stops him and says, look at me as a man of common sense. Could I have committed 2 acts of butchery and still present to you the appearance I do?
Oh, butchery. Wait a minute. Butchery. He was a butcher.
Now, he was in the same clothes, supposedly, according to him, that he was wearing that morning, which remained unstained. But let's take this a step farther, because one of the reporters did. The reporter went to a Bassett Street where Uncle John said he was visiting his niece. And he asked the woman of the house, how do you know the time your uncle left here? And she said, well, it must have been around 11:20. The reporter said, well, how do you know? She said, well, my daughter wasn't feeling well, so I called Dr. Bowen over to tend to her. That's a huge clue for us, because at 11:20, Dr. Bowen was at 2nd Street declaring Mr. Borden dead. So he couldn't have been at Bassett Street, but we do know that he was at Bassett Street. So what that means is the uncle had to have left there closer to 10:30. Now, that doesn't mean he was in the Borden house. That just means that for a good 45 minutes, we can't put him anywhere.
He's unaccounted for.
Right. So the article is published in the paper. And the next morning, when almost the entire city of Fall River had read that article, a huge mob of people followed him to the post office because they thought he was suspicious. Which means the police officers, at least a handful, had to have seen that same article as well and did nothing about it because, you know, we'll try.
We'll try. We'll try. You've seen what they pay us, right? You really expect us to do something? Okay, all right, that's fine. We'll try. We'll try.
Yeah,
That's the motto.
Being a cop yourself,
Right.
what do you think about the police work?
Well, it's sloppy at best.
Yeah.
It's very sloppy. Very sloppy. You know, back in those days, it's they didn't even attempt to take pictures with their cell phones. None of that. The standard practice today. They didn't tweet nothing. It's very suspicious to me. Very suspicious that they wouldn't do any of those things. So it's tough to figure out. It's tough to figure out. So what is are you allowed to, can you tell us what you think happened? I mean, you know more than me. You've told me a lot tonight. And I know I've seen news articles that says, "Oh, Danielle Cabral, she makes it a point not to tell what she thinks about it because she wants people to make up their own mind." But you don't work there no more. So what do you think?
True. You heard it here first, folks.
That's right.
So I do think that it was like a little bit of a conspiracy theory. I believe so. Emma, the older daughter, hated Mrs. Borden.
Oh, really?
Never called her mother, always called her Abby out of disrespect. I think if anyone instilled hatred into Lizzie for the stepmother, it was her sister. I think that money was exchanging hands and property was exchanging hands from Mr. Borden to his wife. The girls were seeing their inheritance dwindle, like I said earlier. And I think that they were trying to figure out what in the world they were going to do if Mr. Borden died first. Because if he had no will, and he was older significantly than his wife, he was 69 when he died and she was 64.
That's significant back in those days? 5 years?
Yeah, because I mean, he was at his life expectancy.
That's true. Yeah, he should have been dead a couple years ago. Right.
So they were extremely elderly, so to speak, for the time. I mean, the more money you had back then, the longer you lived, of course, because you could afford the doctors and the medicine.
That's one thing that hasn't changed.
Right. So I mean, the life expectancy back then was very, very, young. But having that 5-year difference, if Mr. Borden had survived until 75, that would have been, amazing.
Right.
So if he has no will, which is what we have to believe with the story that we know.
How does he have no will?
That's what I'm saying.
He he don't own a sheet of paper and a pen. The man's a 12 millionaire.
Well, they had lawyers back then, so there was talk about a will. Uncle John even said that he had heard about a will a couple of years before. Oh yeah. So no will ever found, right? So we just have to go on what we know, and that there's no will. I don't believe that, but there's no will. So if that's the case and he dies, the money goes to his wife. She's a woman. She'd have no will. That means it goes to her next of kin. Oops, sorry. Oh, I went all cattywampus.
It happens. It happens.
So she has no will, which means it goes to her next of kin, which is not Lizzie and Emma. So the girls could potentially lose out on everything.
Wait, who is her? She's got her own kids or what?
She has, she has nieces and I guess, yeah, she has a half sister. So
they would go over, even though they were legally married. They would go, oh, okay.
Yeah, her next of kin. I mean, if it did go to the girls, I'm sure it would have to be split in some way, shape, or form. It'd be a whole messy, process.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad things turned out not messy.
But even if the money just went to Mrs. Borden with the relationship that she had with the girls, I mean, she could have just cut them out and been like, "Hey, this is mine. See ya. Bye."
Oh yeah, that's true. Deuces.
So I think
off to Vegas.
Yeah, exactly. I think the original plan was for Lizzie and her sister to just get Mrs. Borden out of the picture. Make it look brutal, like an enemy of Mr. Borden's must have come in, because there were rumors that Mr. Borden had a verbal argument with someone not long before the murders. Lizzie went to her friend's house and said that she felt like something terrible was about to happen because she heard her father fighting with someone not that long ago. And either she was truly fearful or she was planting the seed.
Oh, either way, pretty good.
Yeah, exactly. So I think what was supposed to happen is that Lizzie was going to kill her stepmother. The uncle was there, I think, to help secure an alibi, make sure Mr. Borden didn't come back to the house.
Oh.
So the maid's on property, the doors are all locked, Bridget's outside washing windows, Lizzie goes upstairs, kills her stepmother, has a multitude of time to clean up, does just that. She lets Bridget back into the house because Bridget would never go up the front stairs because she wasn't allowed on the second floor because that was their bedrooms. She wasn't a chambermaid, so that would have been inappropriate. So she never would have found Mrs. Borden. And when Mr. Borden came home, he came home early. Nothing good happens when you come home early.
No,
right?
don't do that. Ladies and gentlemen, don't come home early. Don't come home. You're going to see some things you don't want to see. It's just bad. Just stay at work. You stop by a store. Maybe grab you a soda pop or something like that. But don't come home early. Nothing good happens.
No. I firmly believe that if he didn't come home early, he would still be alive. Well, not today.
Today? Oh, okay.
He'll be here all night, folks.
Yeah, that's right.
Don't forget to tip your sock.
Yeah, don't tipsock.com, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not promoting it, but there it is.
Yes. So he comes home early, and he had to be let in a locked house. So all 3 locks on the front door were locked that day. Why? We don't know. Was it devious? Did they just forget? No idea. He's let in the front door by Bridget, and he goes into the sitting room to read some of the day's paper. Well, he asked Lizzie when she came in behind him, "Where's Abby? Where's your stepmother?" And she said, "Oh, she got a note about a sick friend," and she left. She's dead upstairs. So either Lizzie just made all that up, or Mrs. Borden really did get a note about a sick friend and never went out because she died.
Oh, yeah, it could have been. She was like, "Oh, look, here's a note. What does it say? Oh, it's my sick friend. Oh, I better go visit my sick friend and, give us some chicken soup or something like that. Ah, it's a person with a hatchet. Blah, 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 blah." That could have happened.
I love it.
That could have happened. Have you ever considered the fact that maybe it was all just a tragic accident? Maybe she was sharpening her hatchet collection and it slipped out of her hands and just happened to bounce off the lamp in such a way that it attacked her like 11 times or whatever.
19, yeah.
19. It just bounced back and forth 19 times from the lamp to her skull. Maybe it was just some sort of madcap goof that happens sometimes.
It does.
And maybe nobody's at fault. Maybe it's just one of them things.
I like to subscribe to the theory that was published in the paper not once, not twice, but thrice.
Oh, thrice. Wait, what was it? I'm sorry.
Murder, suicide.
Murder, suicide. Oh, those are two heavy words. Two heavy words.
Now follow me on this, Sock Cop.
Okay.
It's not just impressive that Mr. Borden was able to kill his wife and also be seen around town at the same time he was killing his wife. But he comes home, he cleaned up after that, lays on the sofa, hits himself in the face 10 to 11 times, one blow being so severe it cut his eye socket in half and left his eyeball on his cheek. Another blow almost severed his nose from his face. But then he gets rid of the murder weapon.
Now that's impressive. That's impressive. If that guy did that, then, part of me wants to go, that's horrible. How dare you do that? But then another part of me is like, good job. That's impressive.
Yeah.
To get rid of the murder weapon after hacking yourself in the face 11 times and having your eyeball. What'd you say? That his eyeball fell out of his what?
His eyeball was on his cheek. If you actually look at the crime scene photo, you can see a little white pile of mush on his cheek. That's his eyeball. It's not an eyeball staring back at you. It's just, yeah.
Just some mush?
Yep.
Oh my goodness gracious.
Mm-hmm.
That's intense.
Mrs. Borden. So, all right. This is kind of epic. And I love running the scenario by people because I want to know what they think. So both crime scenes show no sign of a struggle and they have no defensive wounds. Mrs. Borden was found face down between the bed and the bureau in the guest bedroom. So we don't know if she was standing up when she was attacked or if she was already perhaps kneeling down. But she got one blow to the left-hand side of her head. She got another blow 4 inches deep in between both of her shoulder blades, and then a remaining 17 blows to the back of her head and neck, totaling 19.
That's a lot of blows.
That's overkill, pun intended, for both victims.
Yeah.
The first 2-3 blows were fatal.
Yeah.
Everything else
Somebody was going for extra credit on that one. That's a little bit much.
Hardcore.
A little bit much. So what about him? So there was no defensive things on him either?
No. And the way the blood spatter is for Mr. Borden's death for his crime scene, it looks like the killer stood over him and faced him head on.
Wow, that's pretty. I don't know.
I don't think Lizzie did that. I don't think Lizzie could kill her father. I think that when he came home early, the uncle was either already at the house by mere minutes or came very shortly after Mr. Borden did. And I think she panicked because this wasn't part of the plan and was like, he can put us in a locked house with a dead body. He's gonna die.
Gotta go. Sorry, fella.
And just changed into his clothes. And I think he walked out the side door, walked in front of a whole bunch of people, around a couple of blocks, hopped on the trolley. Because let's face it, our memories are trash.
Yeah,
You're not going to remember 75% of the people you saw today or when you saw them.
I don't even remember your name anymore.
Right.
That's a good point, Sally.
Yeah. Hiding in plain sight is the best alibi.
That's true. 100%.
And he just had that rock solid alibi for the trolley.
That's fantastic. 6 priests on a trolley. That sounds like a joke.
I was gonna say it sounds like the beginning of a bad joke.
So the 6 priests and axe murderer allegedly on a trolley. There we go. That dadgum Uncle John.
Yep.
That dadgum Uncle John. All right, let's see. I'm gonna go back real quick. I've kept you long enough, but I do want to go back. There were a couple of questions that people asked. Did I want to go back? Druncula says maybe the axe was set on full auto. That's true. Did they? Well, they never found, so they wouldn't know what it was set at.
It's true.
It could have been on full auto, and you get one of those full auto hatchets. One whack equals 15 to 20.
Right.
So there you go. All right, let me see. Maybe the house was already haunted and a ghost did it. That's what Tinka says. You ever consider that? Maybe a ghost did it with a ghost hatchet. That explains why they never found it, because it's a ghost hatchet.
Nailed it.
So there we go. Who knows? Let me see. All right, let me see. I saw my wife bleaching her stash when I came home. She looked like Sock Cop's negative. No, that's not. Nah, that doesn't have anything to do with it. That's pretty funny though. Half sister.
That's come home early.
Yeah, don't come home early. You're gonna see things you don't want to see. I'm telling you this from experience and from stories about hatchet murders. Half sister. What happened to the other half? That's pretty good. Joey Radza said the life expectancy was especially limited in the Borden house. That's true. Oh, somebody asked how old was Lizzie Borden? Because a lot of people think that she was like a child, but that's not true. How old was Lizzie Borden when all this happened?
She was 32.
32 years old. That's old enough to vote.
Yeah, she so her sister was 41 at the time of the murders. Lizzie was 32. They were 9 years apart. Lizzie died on June 1st, 1927 at 66 in Maplecroft. And then 9 days later, Emma died on June 10th at 76.
What?
Yeah, Lizzie died of heart failure. Emma died of nephritis or kidney failure. The girls were both worth over $350,000 when they died, and they donated heavily.
Oh, wow. Donated to what? Do we know?
So Lizzie donated $50,000 to the Animal Rescue League of Fall River. She left one of her chauffeurs her car. She left $500 to the preservation of her father's plot. She left thousands of dollars to different cousins and relatives and things of that nature. Emma She left around $35,000 to the Animal Rescue League of Providence, Rhode Island, and Fall River. She left $5,000 to Boy Scouts, $5,000 to the Girl Scouts, Home for Aged People, nursing programs, $1,000 for the perpetual care of the Borden plot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the list goes on and on, but they both donated a lot.
Wow. You know what? That alone, that's not something a murderer would do. Donate to charity. How many murderers do you know that donate to charity? Come on.
I know, and
Doesn't
that's
happen.
why this is like so hard to figure out who done it. But in the same breath, I could say, well, he donated a whole bunch of money. But did you know that after the girls moved into Maplecroft together, Emma left, and she never talked to her sister ever again. And when she was asked why she left the house, all she said was, "The happenings at the French Street home that have caused me to leave, I must refuse to discuss. And I did not go until things became absolutely unbearable. And I don't suppose I'll ever see myself stepping a foot back in that place while she lives." She never did.
Goodness. That's poetic. Did she ever write a book or like a poetry or anything like that? That was pretty good.
I wish she did.
Yeah, because that's a great. I mean, that's just the way that she phrased that was good.
They just spoke so back then.
Yeah, I was about to say maybe it was just everybody. Maybe if everybody would have been able to afford a pen and a pencil, they could have just wrote down some Shakespearean like poetry, because that's pretty good.
Yeah, we've kind of butchered the English language, I think.
Yeah, it's gone all cattywampus. We use LOLs and all this stuff. It's no good anymore. No good anymore. That cattywampus thing makes me so happy. There's another.
Yeah.
Okay, crime scene photos were perfect because in the 1890s you had to remain still for 160 seconds for them to take your picture. That's pretty good. Remember back in the day, those old cameras, you had to be still for a long time.
Yep.
All right, there we go. My Anaconda, Montana, don't want none unless you got emotional baggage, son. That's pretty good. Let's see. This one. I don't know. This one. I do want to find out. It's a legitimate question. I want to know. It says, "This is for you." It says, "How soon do you tell possible romantic interests that you have an axe murderer tattoo on your thigh?" Do you bring that up whenever you're like, if somebody sets you up with a blind date, they're like, "Oh, I know somebody." Well, I mean, you could be married for all I know. I have no idea.
I'm not.
Oh, okay. So I didn't mean to assume, but I'm just wondering, because if you have something, because obviously, if you're gonna be with somebody, they're gonna have to be cool with, if they're like, "Oh, why are you so obsessed with this whole Lizzie Borden thing?" Oh, you want to find that out early and be like, "Move on, partner." You don't want to deal with that. So I mean, is that something that if you get set up on a first date, are you like, "Hey, what do you think about killing people with hatchets?" Or what? How does that go?
Sock hop, this is new territory for me. I've never been in the dating world not working at Lizzie's. So I always start the conversation off with, "What do you do for a living?" And, "Hey, I work at the Lizzie Borden Bed and Breakfast Museum." Now It's like, "Hey, by the way, if you Google me, you're going to find some things. I should just tell you."
Yeah, I can attest to that. I did Google you, and I found some things. So there you go.
Yeah, I stole that from Jonathan Hodges from the Bama Boys. He got me that saying, "If you don't know, you better Google me."
That's pretty. I don't know the Bama Boys, but I live in Alabama, so I should probably know.
They're in Huntsville.
Oh, that's way up there. They might as well be in Tennessee.
Tennessee.
Yeah. So where is it? What state is it? Is this New England or Massachusetts? Or what is this?
Yep, Massachusetts.
Oh, it's Massachusetts. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, that's good. I didn't know. I wasn't sure. I'm not good because you start getting into those tiny states. It's hard to tell.
I'm Rhode Island. I'm the tiniest state, and I live on an island in the tiniest state.
You live on an island in Rhode Island?
Yeah.
That's fantastic. You must live. Are you lonely?
No.
Is it not? I figured it would just be you.
No. It's I don't know what our population is, but we're small. I mean, it's a bridged island, so it's not like I got to take a boat to go to work.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good to know. All right, let's take a look. Let me run through a thing. I've kept you too long. You're way too important to be spending this much time talking to me. Make sure that I didn't miss any questions. Axe on full auto. We saw that one already. Maybe the uncle was also a metal drummer and used 2 hatchets. That's why metal music gives you a splitting headache. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty good. Blah, 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 blah. She wrote a chopping list and it said mom, dad. That's pretty good.
Oh, okay. So for those of you who are interested in music, go on YouTube and search "You Can't Chop Your Papa Up in Massachusetts." It is a real song by the Chad Mitchell Trio. You will thank me later.
Oh, that sounds fantastic. I'll check that out. What about Lizzie Borden, the hair metal band?
Yeah, they came to the house. There are pictures.
Did you tour them?
No, they came before my time.
Oh, okay. But they came to the house, and then what happened? Because they spell it different. I guess to avoid legal troubles, maybe. I don't know.
There's also a Lizzie Borden adult filmmaker.
Really?
Yeah. People have called the house trying to talk to her. We had to let them down.
Oh, that's a bummer. That's a bummer.
Yeah.
So they haven't toured it?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good. Did they ever? Oh, that's a good question. Have they ever looked in the wall or in the well? Is there a well on the property?
There was, yeah.
There was a well?
So the Borden's original barn was torn down in 1929. They used to have a bathroom out there called a privy. And the previous owners, they excavated the ground to find it, and they did, and they found a whole bunch of artifacts from the Borden time period that are hanging up in the house.
What? Wait, toilet artifacts?
Yeah.
What kind of things did they put down the toilet?
Broken dishes, cups, plates, chicken bones.
Chicken bones?
Yeah.
They just sitting there on the toilet eating chicken?
No. There is no garbage back then. So remember, if you can't burn it, you bury it. There's no easier way to bury something than by chucking it in a hole that already exists.
Oh, okay. All right, I'll take your word for it. But I think they were sitting there eating chicken.
Maybe.
Maybe the newspaper didn't come that day, and they were like, "Well, I guess I'll eat some chicken while I do my thing. I can't read no newspaper." So there we go. I don't know. All right, that's very. The thing that really bums me out, we only scratched the surface. I got so much more that I could talk to you about, but you realize we've been talking for about 2 hours now. I can't keep you. My own personal I can't keep you any longer than that. I would feel terrible if I kept you longer than this.
Well, we'll have to do it again sometime.
Yeah, let's do it again. Yeah, anytime you want to. We'll jibber jab. We got a lot more to cover because we only talked about because you worked at the Lizzie Borden thing for what you said 8-9 years.
Yeah, 9 years.
And you got plenty more life we could talk about.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we'll have to do that one of these days. This was fun. Joey Radza says thank you for a fun interview. Thank you, Joey. I'm so glad. That makes me happy whenever I have a guest, and whenever their people start popping on the chat. That means number one that they're very supportive of you, and that makes me very happy because I think you're a very awesome person, regardless of whether you worked at any sort of axe murdering house or not. I just think you're a cool person, and to know that you have people that got your back. And you say, hey, I'm talking to a sock puppet on the internet, and they're like, well, that sounds stupid, but I'll watch it anyway. That means a lot. So hold those people very close to you. So Joey, smooches for you. Be sure to get him a good. I don't know what his birthday is, but get him something nice because he watched this garbage and supports you. So there you go. There we go. All right. Druncula says fantastic interview. Oh, thank you so much, Druncula. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I hope you guys had a good time. I learned a lot. I learned a whole lot.
Yeah, yay.
This is the most I try not to be educational, but this is the most educational probably thing that I've done. So I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Yeah, history's fun, and tip your sock.
Oh my goodness gracious.
Yeah, there
you got it figured out. That's fantastic. Where if people are interested in you and your things, can they follow you? Do you want to give out your things?
Yeah, you can follow me on Instagram at nerdy_penguin12. Or you can follow me on Facebook. Just type in my name, Danielle Cabral. You can do that for both. Honestly, it's probably easier. I'll pop up. You'll see my beautiful face.
Yep.
I think.
There you go.
I changed my profile picture.
Yep.
Also, follow the life of Fuzzy Butt because she's more fun to follow than I am.
Yeah, if you like cats, Life of Fuzzy, but for sure. And you just reminded me. We forgot to do the animal of the day, and I had it actually themed to you. Do you want to do the animal of the day real quick?
Yeah,
Before we
please.
go? All right, we're gonna do the animal of the day. Well, all right, play the song. Do this one. There we go.
No.
Does it swim or does it crawl? Do you know what it is at all? Sometimes animal of the day. Does it climb or does it fly? Well, do you know the reason why? Sometimes animal of the day.
Yes, and videos, ladies and gentlemen. Normally, the animal of the day would have been done about an hour and a half ago, but your old pal Sock Hop was all caught up in this fantastic conversation. So, we're going to find out real quick what the animal of the day, and the only I normally would have saved it, but it relates to you. So, we're going to do the animal of the day. Drum roll, please. The penguin. Ladies and gentlemen,
No.
the animal of the day is the penguin. Now your handle is Nerdy Penguin. Do you have some sort of love for penguins in your heart, or is it just rhyme, or what? What is it?
No, so the nerdy came in because I'm a huge history nerd, and a couple people actually call me Penguin. I've loved penguins since I can remember. I have a penguin tattoo. I think they're the most adorable animals ever.
Oh, well, good. Okay, I'm glad I picked it. Good. Wait, you scared me for a second because you said some people call me Penguin. I was like, oh my god, do you have some sort of weird like waddle type of limp or something like that? I don't mean to make fun of you and do anything, but okay, good. So, all right, so you love the penguins. Congratulations to the penguin for being the animal of the day. Do you know what a group of penguins is called?
Oh God, I should. Are they called a squad?
Oh, that's what they should be called, is a squad. But according to the internet, maybe if you ask penguins, if you said, hey, what is your group called? They would say, squad. Maybe, I don't know. But according to the internet, a group of penguins is called a raft when they're in the water, or a waddle when they're on the land, or a rookery, a colony, or a huddle. A lot of words to describe a group of penguins. So there you go.
I love it.
There you go. Group of penguins, yeah. That was special for you, my friend. Special for you. Animal of the day is the penguin. So if you run into any penguins, let them know that they've earned the honor, and enjoy the day. So that's good. Everybody, thank you so much for talking to me, my friend. Danielle Cabral, everybody. Fantastic. Smooches for you. Thank you so much for being my friend low these many years. Thank you for the fantastic stories, and we'll have to do it again because, like I said, we just barely scratched the surface, and we'll do this again one of these days, and pick this up right where we left off. It's going to be fun, ladies and gentlemen. Danielle Cabral. Ladies and gentlemen, applause. You can't hear the applause, but I hit the applause button. So it sounds like there's a studio audience. And they're doing the applause. Really good. You have any parting words? Anything you want to say before we go? Anything we left out?
No, I think we covered it all.
Good. All right, good. That makes me feel good. I'm glad we covered it. Smooches for you, Danielle. Thank you so much. Smooches for you. Yes, indeed. It was such a pleasure talking to you, my friend. And we will talk to you again here soon in the kingdom of Twitch, I guess, or Facebook, or wherever you're watching this, wherever it is. All right, we got to find a channel to raid. Who we're gonna? Oh, Weird Paul's still on. I guess we're gonna raid Weird Paul. Do you use Twitch ever? Do you know what I'm talking about when I say raid?
No, I haven't got the Twitch yet.
Okay, no, that's fine. Not a big deal. Shira, thank you so much for those 200 bits. Aww. Thank you so much. Much appreciated, my friend. Hope you enjoyed it. We're going over to see Weird Paul, and we'll do the thing. No, on Twitch you can raid. So whenever you're done with your show, you can pick another channel, whoever else is live, and it basically takes all your people over to their thing.
Oh.
And then we can jibber jabber. and go to that. So we're gonna go watch Weird Paw. So thank you so much, Danielle. Smooches for you. Everybody follow Danielle, Nerdy Penguin 12 or something like that, right? What was it?
Yeah, nerdy_penguin12 or just Danielle.
Yeah, look her up, ladies and gentlemen. You're not children. I'm not gonna hold your hand. Look her up. You can find her. It's the internet. Learn how to use it, you geezers. All right, there we go. All right, Sock Hop loves you. Thank you so much, Danielle. I'm gonna hang up on you now, and so you can move on with your life. and we'll talk soon, my friend.
All right, sounds good.
Smooches for yours.
Bye.
And the hang up on it. There we go. Smooches for yours. Thank you so much. That was fantastic. We're gonna go see Weird Paul. We're gonna go see Weird Paul, my friend. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, everybody. It's time to say goodbye. Where's the goodbye? Where's the goodbye video? There we go.
And now, folks, it's time to say goodnight. We sincerely appreciate your patronage and hope we've succeeded in bringing you an enjoyable evening of entertainment. Please drive home carefully and come back again soon. Good night.